Welcome back to Send Better Emails with me, Jamie Woodbridge, and him, James Copeland.
Oh, that's weird.
The podcast that helps you to send better emails.
Have you had that like in the barrel?
What do you think? I'm trying it out. I'm trying it on.
I don't like it at all.
You don't like it?
No.
I knew you wouldn't like it.
No, intros are so overrated.
Oh, as in, okay, fair.
Yeah, I think like I also think theme tunes are as well, but I like ours so much that I think we're the exception to the rule.
Yeah, I like ours. It's a bit of an earworm.
It is a bit, yeah. But it's tedious having to listen to a boring long intro, like a boring long theme tune and a boring long intro.
Yeah, okay, fair. Our intro theme comes like maybe 3 or 4 minutes into the episode, though.
It does, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have cold openings, don't we?
Yeah. So at this point, we have like the music going on like quietly in the background whilst we're talking and doing the intro. It's like a freestyle, the streets kind of opening gambit.
Yeah, it's nice. What is the email equivalent of an intro, would you say, Jamie?
Maybe just like the intro and an email.
Oh no, I was trying to give you a segue there to be like the welcome email.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right.
Oh, okay, we're going straight in. Okay.
No. I just, Jamie, what would you say like the email equivalent of an intro is?
Good question, James. Let me expand on that a little bit.
Jamie, you're talking like those AI podcasts that that are springing up everywhere.
Yeah. How do people know that we're just not?
That's such an interesting thought. Let's expand on that.
Yeah.
They always say stuff like that, don't they?
Yeah. So, I would say a good introduction is welcome email. Try and stay awake, James.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not quite switched on today. You might have noticed.
Okay, fine. I'll carry on with my AI style
please.
conversation. We want to talk about welcome emails today and welcome automations, and with a particular leaning towards e-commerce. And what a good one looks like, and the kind of things that you can do, and maybe some different tactics you can use in your welcome automation as well. Because, James, why is a welcome automation so important?
Well, Jamie, that's a great question. It will be the most read email that you send. The first email that's sent after someone signs up will be it will have the highest open rates. It will have the highest engagement. So it's a really valuable opportunity to set the scene for what people can expect when it comes to the emails you're going to be sending them. It gives you the chance to spotlight things that maybe would be difficult to spotlight in the day-to-day cadence of email sending. So this is your opportunity. Like it is, to some extent, the shop front. So if you had an actual shop down the high street, how you dress your window and what that looks like is, and the products that you put there and the way that it looks and everything like that is your welcome email. So yes, super important. And I do think, even though this will focus on e-commerce, because e-commerce has slightly more foibles to consider than a newsletter's welcome email, for example, I think a lot of the principles we're going to be covering here, like the principle that the welcome email will probably be your most opened email, will apply to all welcome emails for all businesses or creators or thought leaders or whatever you want to call yourself these days.
Nice. Okay. It'll also be the email that converts the most for you, right? But as an e-commerce store, I would say, unless you have a particular campaign, like one-off campaigns and stuff that are going to convert a bunch for you, or your welcome email is going to be a real workhorse when it comes to conversions. Yeah,
assuming that you're selling in them, which we'll get to that, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So if we look at like your classic e-commerce welcome automation as it stands, most online stores are deploying the tactic where you have a pop-up or some kind of form that's offering some discount if you join the mailing list, and then people join the mailing list, get their discount in the first email. Hopefully in the first email. Some people are now displaying it on the forms, which is, I guess, something you and I can pick apart in a second. But they open the first email, they get their welcome discount, and then they use that discount. And that's why the welcome email typically converts so high. maybe that skews how successful your welcome email actually is by just layering this tactic in with a discount. It would be like if your shop front, if you had someone standing there and as soon as anyone walked into the shop, you were handing out a leaflet that's like, okay, you can get 10% off with this leaflet. Okay, well, how successful is that sales tactic? Because we won't know how often people are actually going to buy without that discount. So that's why we're seeing such high numbers coming from welcome emails in terms of conversions. If we put that tactic to one side for the moment and we say, okay, we're a brand that doesn't do discounts. It's not part of our brand strategy to offer discounting. However, we still want to put a welcome automation in place, and we want that welcome automation to convert for us still. What are some ways in which people can use your welcome automation and not use a discount and still get good conversions?
Yeah, so I do think that is a good tactic, and we're not shitting on the idea of giving out a discount here. I just want to make that clear because
100%, yeah.
Not that you implied we were, but that is not a bad tactic by any means, and there's a reason why it's so popular. I think if it is just fundamentally against your brand principles, let's imagine you're like a luxury brand, for example. Like Louis Vuitton aren't offering like 15% off when you go onto their homepage, as far as I'm aware. Maybe they are. So, yeah, I would say then really it comes down to, and again, it's something that we've sort of already touched on. If we just operate on the basis that the welcome email is going to be the most read email that you ever send, really you've got to be thinking to yourself, okay, if I'm not going to be offering a discount, what can I spotlight? What do I want to spotlight here? Assuming that it's the last opportunity I might have to reach these people. And of course, what we really want is to retain these readers such that they open every email we send them. So I would be looking at it from two perspectives. Firstly, I'd be thinking, okay, if there isn't instant gratification to be gained out of this welcome email, i.e. like a 10% code, what I want to be doing in part is making sure that the stuff I say in my welcome email has people coming back for more. So I would be very clear with what I'm going to send them and why they need to open future emails that I send, because I think really the welcome email that offers a discount is great and will perform incredibly well. It will be your best performing email, as you have already said, Jamie. But that doesn't necessarily breed an atmosphere of repeat customers that come back again and again. So I'd be looking at, okay, the long-term value of having a prospective customer's email address. And I would want my email to be the foundation upon which to build like a palace of emails that get sent to these people and hopefully yield conversions for days, weeks, months, and years to come.
Yeah.
The second thing is that I would be looking to other ways of making that welcome email work hard in the short term. So I might be, for example, spotlighting a new product. I might be spotlighting the founder story and talking about, why the business exists in the first place and hoping to kind of compel people in that way. And I would imagine if you are a luxury brand, for example, or you're a brand for which discounts just don't work for you, the founder story is going to be particularly important, like that brand story, why you exist, why you serve, why aren't you the sort of brand that offers discounts? That's the sort of thing that I'd want to be telling in that welcome email.
Yeah, and your Louis Vuitton example is good because if we go into a Louis Vuitton shop, the shopping experience is very different to if I went to B&M, for example, right? So it's a more personalized concierge service. You sit down with someone, there's less stuff to look at. It's more refined. So, I think in the communications that will be reflected as well. So in the emails, it's okay. Well, how do we try and replicate some of that feeling that people have when they come to our stores? And Louis Vuitton is an extreme example, but there are other brands that be like, okay, well, we don't have the gross profit margin here to be offering discounts. It might be they're just not luxury. They just don't have the gross profit margins on their products to be able to offer discounts sustainably. And so what are the ways in which we're engaging new subscribers? Okay, well, we need to create some kind of proposition for our emails then, okay, because we're not just basing it on discounts. We can't just say you need to be signed up to our emails because you're going to get discounts. We need to say something instead along the lines of you should be signed up to our emails because we send great recipes every week. We tell great stories in our emails every week. You get exclusive content. You get access to products when product launches before anyone else. What are the levers that we can pull to get people to want to hang out in our emails and to be ready to receive our emails other than just discounting?
Yeah.
And like I said,
sorry, Jamie.
That's all right. Like I say, this isn't a shit on discount session because it's a very legitimate strategy. I just think it's one tool in our toolkit that we can use. And that there are a whole bunch of other tools that we can use besides that.
Yeah, and really, you should be doing this if you offer a discount as well. What I would be thinking is, okay, where can I position this discount code? If we assume that the discount code is going to be why most people are opening the email, where can I position it such that I can still get some messaging across before people just grab the code and leave? So I think that's also really, really important. If we're putting that discount code right at the top of the email, okay, that's probably in the best interests of the subscriber, but it means that anything else that you put after that is probably going to be lost. And that's a principle, by the way, for any kind of CTA or link that you put at the top of your email. You have to consider the fact that your most engaged subscribers, the ones that actually click and interact with your emails, are going to leave your email if you're putting a hyperlink at the top. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting consideration. I also just want to come back to the point you were saying earlier, though, which is around this idea of, like creating an atmosphere within which people want to hang out and, engage with your emails in the future. I do think this is really, really hard for a lot of brands. Really, if you are not a luxury brand and you can't offer discounts because of your margins, the assumption, I suppose, is that you're producing at scale. You have, you have small enough margins that you have to sell quite a lot of stuff in order for it to be economically viable for you. It's quite hard to combine a brand like that with, a kind of a mystique, a culture around your brand that's going to have people coming back for more. Yeah. So it is tricky. Like Louis Vuitton can easily, when they send a welcome email, they can easily tell a brand story and create an experience and have people coming back for more because their products are so coveted that, you probably are going to sign up to get the newest bag they release because, maybe they only release one bag every 3 years. I think for a lot of brands, it's much, much harder to elicit that same sense of desire amongst your there are very few products that people are going to sign up for a waiting list to get. So I think for those brands, this is where for me, I think the most compelling thing that you can be doing is talking about your own story. So, you might have the brand that's associated with your e-commerce store, but it's about saying, okay, who's actually behind this brand? And it's the email's getting sent from you, not from the company. It's getting sent from you. It's almost like a meet the founder type of thing. Why did you start the brand? I think engaging with them on a human level is probably the lever that every single brand, whether you're selling, cheesy Wotsits or whether you're selling luxury shoes, every brand has access to that lever and should use it.
Okay, nice. I'm going to play devil's advocate here because a lot of brands, some that we speak to and some that we hear about, are very, very focused on hard selling and just okay, well, the email is just a vehicle for me to secure these conversions, right? As opposed to, a longer term nurturing view. And sometimes that's needed. But, if someone might say okay, well, I want the welcome email. I want people to be using the discount code. That's the primary goal here. I don't really care about anything else. So I'm going to put it in there, right? Really obvious, right at the top. And as long as they're using it, that's the success metric that I'm going to track. Do you think there's something wrong with that? Or do you think that that's okay?
No, I think that's absolutely fine. I just
Yeah,
think then it comes down to how you retarget those purchases later down the line. And I
sure.
think the trap that a lot of brands find themselves in is that they offer that welcome discount. It converts well, as welcome discounts often do, and then they find themselves unable to convert unless they're offering more discounts. Which is really, really tricky. So when you're retargeting these people, let's say you have a post-purchase flow where in 6 months they're going to get another email saying, maybe you need a new one, or here's this new thing that's just dropped, or whatever it might be. Then you're having to offer them a discount because they're used to a discount now. That's the only way that they've ever interacted with your store.
Yeah,
So I think that can be a bit of a danger. But no, I don't have any problem at all with your welcome flow being used primarily for transactional purposes. And of course, Jamie, the other thing here, which I'm sure we'll get onto, is that you don't have to just have one welcome email, right? You can have multiple welcome emails across a sequence. So
yeah.
maybe in email one, you're sharing your discount code, and in email two, you then go into more of the story behind the brand, perhaps, or something that isn't focused on the discount. I guess what I would say is that even if you have a very transactional view of your emails, the key here is variety. And we've spoken about this a fair bit, about variety being the spice of life. And I think that applies to every marketing channel. It particularly applies to email marketing. So yes, your discount code is a great way to start. No problems with that whatsoever. But if you're only ever offering discount codes, or every email you send is just like, buy this, here's a sale, buy this, then eventually you're going to rinse the life out of your email list. It just happens. So variety, as you say, Jamie, some of this value focused content where maybe there is a sale in there somewhere. If you sell food, maybe you are sharing recipes, and yes, you're going to link to a couple of the products that you're selling. But foundationally, a focus on value and a focus on transaction, and alternating between those, I think is quite a healthy approach.
Nice. Yeah. So I think for me, uh, optimal kind of length of a welcome automation should probably be something like 4 or 5 emails, where we're trying to get that first purchase. Then, people will then do other things in their customer journey that will then, mean they move on from the welcome sequence. So, if they start adding things to their cart and abandoning them, if they make a purchase, you're going to want to move them to a different flow. Right. So for me, the welcome flow is got to always be about, two things is that first kind of purchase or the next move in the customer journey. How do we move them to there? But also that kind of setting up the storefront, getting people used to our tone, our approach to emails, like what are our emails going to look like? We're trying to achieve both things there.
Mhm.
But I think 4 or 5 emails is a good length.
Yeah, agreed. And like maybe one of the ways that we can frame this is to encourage listeners to think of their discount code that they might have in their locker as a last resort rather than a first resort, right? So often it's the first thing that you get, and it's like you haven't really had to work for it. You've given your email address, and it's this is why I would never disparage a store giving out a discount in exchange for an email address, because obviously we recognize the value of email marketing, and we know that if you do email marketing right, that email address can be turned into revenue for years to come. But the discount code could also be a last resort. It could be that they go through every other stage of the flow first. They get customer reviews, they get the founder story, they get, new products that have been added. They get why that, your products are extra high quality, and, they're crafted in the UK and all of this kind of stuff. You can get into all of that. And then if they still haven't converted, then you can offer them a discount and say, look, we're going to thank you for opening our last emails. We're going to give you a 10% discount. Thank you. And so it can work the other way around. We can invert the welcome flow such that the discount comes at the end, having tried everything else first, not at the start, after which
Yeah.
point you kind of lost them a bit.
Yeah, I definitely like that approach when it comes to abandonment flows. Not just knee jerking with the first email with a discount, but how do we secure the conversion without giving the discount? And maybe, that's something we've not had the chance to test with a client. Like, how about we invert the welcome flow and put the discount at the end? And maybe for those clients that are not so keen on just offering discounts all over the place, how do we just offer the discounts to the people that are engaged and stay engaged around our welcome flow? I quite like that. And maybe for certain brands that could be a nice approach. I think for a lot of brands, either a lot of brands won't fancy that. A lot of brands will just say, okay, well, I want to get the discount of the first one. We want to try and get conversions. I'm going to put something to you, James, to get your opinion on here. Do you think by offering a discount in our welcome flow at the top, so it's in our pop-up form and it's in the first email, do you think that puts more emphasis on good routine of list cleaning? And why? Do you think it's more important if we're getting people over the line with a discount, that list cleaning is more important than if we weren't?
Yes, absolutely. So the equivalent, I suppose, in the newsletter world is you often see newsletters attracting subscribers by doing giveaways, right? So they'll say something like, we're giving a PlayStation 5 to one person who subscribes in June. And, that on the surface is like a great way to get subscribers. And there are newsletters that get thousands of subscribers this way. But of course, the problem is as soon as someone finds out they haven't won, they unsubscribe or even worse, they just your emails are consigned to their mental spam folder. And after that point, you're never going to get an open from them. And I think it's the exact same psychology some of the time for discount codes. The only difference is that if they've used a discount code and if that's why they subscribed, and they're very high intent, right? They want to buy from your brand. And so I do think the quality is going to be higher. It's not going to be a complete disaster. It's not like your list is suddenly going to be full of like time wasters, because ultimately, if they've signed up because they want the discount code, either they were going to buy anyway and you've offered them 10% off in exchange for an email, so now they're definitely going to buy, or they were a bit on the fence and then they got this pop-up saying 10% off and they thought, okay, that'll persuade me, and they're buying. So in either way, it's a customer, and customers are valuable, and customers are high intent, and the fact they bought from you once means that they can buy from you again. The easiest customer to win is the customer that's already bought from you. So yes, list cleaning is always important. And I think even more so if you have, it's almost like there's a scale of like, if you're offering 10% off, you need to clean 10% more often. If it's 20% off, 20% more often, you could, that would probably work quite well. If you're offering half price, you need to be cleaning your list 50% more often than you would ordinarily. I would say that's probably quite a good framework to think about it. But of course, for most people offering 10%, yes, you should be more attentive of the quality of your list. But I would say if you clean your list once a month ordinarily, maybe just add in a couple more a year, and that should do you nicely. Nice. What are your thoughts, Jamie? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I think the difference between offering a discount or not is can be the difference in quite significant list growth. So we're going to get more people through the gate, and if we're getting more people through the gate, it stands to reason that not all of those people are going to be as high quality subscriber as if we were just saying, okay, well, subscribe to us because we're offering value, not just discount. So, list cleaning is super important. I just think if we're getting more people through the gate, then we should be doing list cleaning more often. And there are ways that we can automate that as well, right? So that we're not having to go in and do it manually every quarter or something.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. There's one last point I want to put in, and then maybe we could do some hot takes if you think you've got a hot take here, James. But actually, no. The thing I was going to say, I'm going to use as my hot take.
Oh,
sorry, mate.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Okay. I've got a bit of a hot take, I think.
Okay.
It's not really a hot take. Shall we do it? We haven't done a hot take for ages.
Nah, let's do it. Let's do a hot take.
Okay, go on then.
So yeah, I'll go first. So something that we haven't spoken about yet, but I think brands should experiment with, is to put a SMS in your welcome flow.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So experiment with that, because SMS does get great metrics. It's not for every brand. It's not for every recipient either. That's probably the most important thing. We talk about, okay, well, is this right for the brand? Well, is it right for the audience? but test it, see how it performs. It might get those conversions. It might help you squeeze some more juice from that lemon.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. Thanks. Mine is about diminishing returns. And I would really like listeners to think about diminishing returns when they think about offering a discount right off the bat. So just a quick bit of like tabletop maths here. What we have to remember is that a certain number of people that land on our website were going to buy from us anyway, right? And then we've just given them a 10% discount. So effectively, we've just lost 10% of money that we would have received from that customer. Maybe they spend a little bit more as a result of this 10% discount. But really, this 10% discount that we're offering in exchange for an email address, because remember, when someone's purchasing, they can opt in for marketing comms there as well. So it's not like anyone who purchases, we can't retarget with other marketing comms. So really, this 10% discount is for those people that wouldn't have bought, but will buy now because of a discount. And so when we're calculating the value of that on our website, we have to assume that it's making us more than, it's converting more than 10% of our visitors, right? Because if we're losing 10% of revenue on the visitors that would have purchased anyway, we need to compensate for that by converting more than 10% of visitors that come onto our store as a result of this discount. And so I suspect, Jamie, if I had to guess, that there are some stores out there that are so used to offering a discount when it comes to their pop-up. You know, it's like the default setting when you're creating pop-ups. They're so used to it that they haven't actually tested their site without one. And what they will find inevitably is that they get fewer customers. But of course, they'll be making 10% more on those initial transactions as well. So the question then is, does the economics actually justify having a discount code? Or is there an argument that by not offering one, yes, you're going to get fewer customers, but you're going to get more revenue from each of those customers, which ultimately is going to lead to more revenue overall.
Yeah. And the only thing that I would caveat that with is like, you're offering the 10% in order to get them onto your mailing list. So if your email marketing's no good and you're not doing anything with their data afterwards, then it's definitely not worth it. You know, you make up that deficit with good email marketing to try and get people to purchase a second time, buy more stuff at once, etc. So, you know, you've got two goals. One is to secure the conversion with your discount, and the second one is to actually get people on your mailing list that you have the opportunity to sell to them again and again and again and build that relationship with them. So if you've got a discount on your pop-up and you're not doing any kind of decent email marketing afterwards, that is 10% chucked away, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty savage, isn't it? Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. This has been Send Better Emails. Anything to add, James?
No, I don't think so. Oh, by the way, you're not in the office today. I am, and so is Jenna. So we're having a great time without you. Jenna told me to let you know.
But it's a Tuesday.
I know.
I didn't get alerted that it was office day today.
Well, hey, every day could be office day.
Oh, it could be. I'm sorry,
I'm just
guys.
telling you that because I promised Jenna that I would say it on the podcast.
Okay. And I'm sorry to you guys, but I'm also sorry for myself that I'm missing out on that.
Yeah, we might order lunch in. Who knows?
Oh God. Rub it in. Okay, thanks for listening, everyone. This has been Send Better Emails.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.